And welcome to another exciting adventure on the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight I am bringing you a very special guest. We've been kind of having fun just chit chatting behind stage, so you all are in for a fun evening. We've been kind of laughing about a few things and just going where it goes, so we'll see what comes up tonight. And with that being said, I could give you a background on my guest, but there's no way I could do it justice. So I'm going to turn it over to my amazing guest to introduce herself, the one, the only, super insightful Medium Sara Hawkins.
Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you for having me as a guest on your show today. I feel so honored. We've had so much fun talking. So I am Medium Sara Hawkins. I am located in Salem, Ohio. You can see my studio here. This is not a set. This is where I actually bring clients to do private readings and connect with loved ones in spirit. And that's mainly what I do, is connect with loved ones, but I also do psychic readings, and I'll bring out the tarot cards if somebody likes tarot cards. It's really a client's preference. Main portion of what I use is automatic writing. So when a client comes in, they will definitely leave here with a paper of all the drawing and scribbles that I did in the writing that I did. So that's just a little bit about what I do. I'm also going to be working with Dark Lux Production and Ghost Realm very soon on getting back out in the field again and going on some haunts and doing some films. So more things are coming up, especially aside from doing the in-studio mediumship. I'm actually going to be out in the field again.
Well, that sounds exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting.
So when you talk about having this mediumship, is this something like you felt called to learn and learned and, kind of grew into it? Or was it something you were born with and just utilized?
I would say it was something that I was born with and just utilized. And to this day, my parents, I'm very fortunate, are still with us. They're still alive, and they've shared some of those mediumship evolution stories with me. So I know the things that I can't remember through their memories, and the things that they experienced with me were very extraordinary. They witnessed apparitions standing over top of my crib dressed in white. My mom would find different entities in my room. So there would be a lot that would happen around my crib and around me as a baby. And I would also be in the car at around age 4 years old. This is so young. And I would tell my mom that there were things riding in the car with us that wanted me to do bad things. So when I was little, I was very wide open to not just nice energy, but all energy. So I had bad energy talking to me as well as a kid. And I do go into depths a little bit more on the darker aspect of things, because it's the side of mediumship that a lot of people don't want to talk about. They always want to say love and light. And I'm here to say that you don't exist without the darkness. We can't shine that light without the darkness. So we have experienced it. We do exist with the energies of all types.
So you talk about being wide open as a child. Do you consider yourself still wide open, or have you learned to put up some protective boundaries?
So, yeah, I have worked very diligently on setting up boundaries. I actually have an entire book of how I create boundaries, what boundaries work in my life. Like, for example, I don't allow spirits to jump in the car and talk to me. So, it's a boundary that I have set up. But on occasion, I will have a couple spirits that will interrupt my driving. So I have some safety measures put in place, but sometimes they say, well, you need to know this right now for whatever reason. So occasionally they break the rules, but it's a loose relationship on my spirit family that I engage with and that I communicate with on a regular basis. So I do have some rules where that's concerned, though. And then boundaries and protection. I speak over myself and I speak my intentions. So whether I'm doing it telepathically between myself and the universe, or whether I say it out loud while I light a candle, it just depends on how I want to set the intentions for that moment. But I will go through a process of intention setting before readings, especially. A lot of times you'll find me listening to binaural beats or certain frequencies and tones, like 99999, just trying to set a frequency in the room that I'm working in as well. So there is preparation work to setting my stage, and it's different for everyone, and I don't think that anyone does it right or wrong. This is just how I happen to do it. I create my own environment and my own stage setting for spirit to interact with me.
And I actually have an interesting perceptive question for you. What you say when your parents, I think it was your mom, would find you with entities over you in the
Mm-hmm.
crib.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think her being open to that and not freaking out kind of helped you to where when you saw the, like you say, the dark and the light aspects doing what they're doing, to where you were calm and open to it as well and didn't go into the, oh my god, you're dark, I had to go find the light and gotta go
Yeah.
cleanse myself?
Yeah, I was never afraid of the darkness. As a matter of fact, there were instances where in my parents' home, I was drawn into the attic in the middle of the night in the dark and would shut the door behind me. But there was an entity that wanted me to be in there with it. So my parents would find me in random places in the house that were dark and in the middle of the night. So they would find me in strange places. So this is the darker side of psychic children and kids with mediumship. Things happen to them. They end up in weird crawl spaces. They end up in places. You have to kind of look at it with a little bit of an open mind. And my parents luckily did believe what I was telling them or why I was doing the things I was doing. So
That's really cool, and I'm glad that you had that, because a lot of people's parents, I don't think, would be so open to transparent or translucent figure standing over a baby.
yeah. Yeah. Also, when I was really about 6 or 7 years old, I'm going to say seven, I was in my bedroom giggling, and I'm an only child. So I was talking to, what I can tell you, what that I saw in my memory was children playing on the ceiling on like a merry-go-round. So I was talking to the children on the ceiling, laughing, having a great time. My mom comes in my room. She's like, "What are you doing? Like, who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "I'm talking to the kids playing on the ceiling." And she was like, "What do they want?" And I said, "They want me to come over there." And she said, "Tell them your mom said you're not allowed to go." And she ran out of the room and shut the door and left me in there with them. And I just told the kids good night and that I wasn't allowed to come over and play. And that was the end of that. So we laugh about that to this day because these things happened all the time. And the fact that she did freak out and leave me in there, I scared her. Like, she was terrified of me in that moment. So she just took off and left me there like that. So there are some, funny moments that we laugh about that happen. But, I wouldn't say that those kids that were playing on the ceiling had my best interest at heart. I don't think that that was supposed to be a good experience. That was probably a bad experience. And it scared her and she left.
Yeah, I've been frequently saying lately is, when we talk about good spirits and bad spirits, is I go, I kind of have my own philosophy of, if it's wanting you to do harm or harm yourself, it's probably not a being of the light and should be avoided.
Right.
Whereas if it's telling you, hey, this can help you to help others and is like wanting to help you in a good way, those are the ones you should kind of listen to more.
Yeah. Yeah. So those were some of the experiences that were a little on the creepier side of things. And then I would always know when people were going to pass away in the family. So I would tell my mom, like, so and so's going to eat, you know? So she would know that. That was another weird thing that I would do as a kid. But, um, and she would be so terrified of me. She's like, "Did you put a curse on me or did you?" I'm like, "No." She was always so afraid of
Mm.
me. Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
funny you say that because it's like from your stories, it seems quite the opposite.
Right? We have good laughs about it, but yeah, I definitely terrified the family for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
And so, what was like, you talk about having like them sharing with you these memories and filling in gaps. So, what would you say would be like one of the first, trying to think how to word it, experiences that you actually recall on your own of being a medium?
When my grandfather passed away, I was in fifth grade. And I knew, first of all, that he was passed because I was at school and I picked up on it. I looked at the clock and then I had to walk home. And as I walked home, I could see all of the cars were there. So I knew that something happened. He had cancer. So I knew that he was probably going to pass away. And so he did. And then he appeared in my bedroom in full body apparition. Like I can see his whole outfit. And I would cover my eyes with the blanket and be like, "Go away, go away, go away." And I would untuck myself and look, and he would still be there. And I would do it again and again and look, and he would still be there until at one point he did go away. So he was also seen walking on the land at my grandma's farm, monitoring the land. So multiple people in our family picked up on his apparition, and he was wearing an outfit that he picked out for himself, not what he was passed away buried in, actually, but it was an outfit that he wore on a regular basis. But I saw him in, and so did the family. So he chose to continue to walk the land and be around just for a little bit longer. He just wanted to take care of the property. The farm was very important to the family. So yeah, that would be one of the first times I started encountering full body apparitions and started to feel that mediumship energy, to channel information, knowing times of passing, starting to channel messages to my mom, telling her he said it would be okay and not to worry, telling them things that they needed to hear. And I was only a fifth grader. So at that young age, I knew, oh, grandpa had this to say. And I didn't understand why they didn't know what he was saying either. I didn't understand why I was the only one that knew what he was saying. So we would
And
have seances at the house and things like that as well. So other things went on with my family that are maybe like a not so conventional, but we had a woman come over who would do a seance, and I would have been more of a teenager at that time. So we had a lot of different um, things happening for that time period in the 1990s that were not very popular.
and I can't help find it humorous though in your story. You're like laughing and talking to kids on a merry-go-round on a ceiling, but your grandfather comes and you're hiding and saying, "Go away."
Yes, that's true. Yeah, the kids didn't scare me at all. He was a pretty stern man. You have to understand, I'm got a family of immigrants here, so there was some different traditions that were a little more harsher, and so he was somebody that I was fearful of. So he scared me.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
he was a scary kind of guy. Like, back then the belt still existed. Like you could still
Oh,
get
yeah.
you can still pick your switch off the tree. I'm born and raised in Appalachia, so maybe even some other cultural things there that people might be familiar with. That's how I was raised. It's a little tougher, so he was a little bit scary. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense because I was like, why would you be afraid of your family over strangers? But that makes sense, and
Yeah.
and
And the entities presented themselves as children, and they were like really sweet energy presenting themselves to me, like playful. And I just thought they were kids that wanted to hang out with me. So it was very non-threatening. Like, as I didn't understand what my grandfather, I don't know where he went. Like, so he didn't go instantly off and release this world. He stayed clutched to this world a while longer. So his energy wasn't vibrating as high as, maybe my family would have liked him to be, but he had some realities to his personality that he had to face here and deal with. And then his frequency, in my opinion, will change and shift, and he can grow and move on. So I believe our frequency expands as our consciousness continues. I believe our frequency continues, and we can evolve that frequency. There's ways that through my mediumship, I offer people the opportunity to experience a forgiving moment in my office. A lot of times spirits will come through with great apologies, and there'll be a lot of forgiveness that happens. This elevates both the living and the deceased.
yeah, ironically, I had that happen not by choice with one of my family members who snuck his way in past our guardians, so to speak. And so, yeah, I know what you mean about having certain people that you're like, nope, you're over there, you're over there. We don't have to talk anymore, so kudos to
Right.
you. Have fun over there. I'll
Yes,
stay over here.
exactly. But, as a medium, I have evolved to deal with many different types of scenarios. And we have all kinds of appointments in different walks of life that come through my office, from people that are struggling and fearful of losing their own life by their own hands or even someone else's. We deal with all the hard conversations. There's been times where authorities have been involved. Like, it's crazy what can happen or what needs to happen to help save somebody's life. So,
And touching on something you were talking about a few minutes ago, I kind of have a question that I formulated around it.
okay.
And it's about your mom, so you may or may not be able to answer it, but you mentioned having seances at the house, yet you're a medium, and she is afraid of you, but welcomes another person in to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, do you think she was more afraid because you were so young?
Yes, young and out of control. Absolutely. Absolutely. And having the other medium coming in. So it was also to kind of get help with me. They were looking for ways to help me by having someone else come in too. And it wasn't popular. So you got to think of the timeline too, is the 1990s. So there's no searching people out on the internet. We had to like find a medium, word of mouth, get them here, and then start interacting with them. And this medium was amazing. She opened the door for me. And I don't think to this day even knows what she did for me, but I've seen her out in public before, but I don't even know if she'd make two and two connections. But yeah, she has been a practicing medium since I was a teenager, and I have seen her even up in recent years still working at events.
That's pretty cool, and I'm glad that they were trying to help and everything too. And so,
And it did
what?
help a lot. That's where we learned a lot about different, like using sage and things like that, and using different protection tools. And, what did you have on TV at that time? You would have like Sylvia Brown, maybe on some talk shows, like on like Phil Donahue or whatever. Like there was not a whole lot of opportunity to learn from mediums in the
Yeah,
public eye.
It was either Sylvia Brown or Cleo
Yeah,
on the
right. There was
psychic
not a lot.
channel,
Yeah.
which it
We
was
were
like,
really,
yeah, we have come a long way, and
yes. Yeah,
it's
so my family did the best they could, but they did have fearful moments, and we had to have cleansings on our property and home, because there would be activity. And they did a cleansing and said that the upstairs hallway, like near my bedroom, was like a portal, and that things were just moving and flowing in and out. And unfortunately, I believe that is part of what I created energetically as a child. I probably created with my energy and my mediumship that draw and that flow of things coming in and out. And I feel like that's what happened in our home. So we had to have people come in and do a lot of work on the home spiritually.
well, it makes sense, and I don't know if it was technically your fault because
Right.
I kind of understand, like, people who are mediums or do energy work, light workers, all types. They're like beacons, and the second you start to utilize, it's like the light goes out and everybody comes to it. You don't get just one or the other, you get everything.
Yeah.
And so probably, you just turned it on and didn't realize what was coming. And probably, I almost want to curious to even wonder, is the portal what turned on your gift and brought your awareness to it?
Well, I think it was more genetically tied. Um, there is some things going on with my genetics. So I have genetic mutations, which is kind of strange, but I think everything is tied into that. So I have very rare illness. And I think it all goes together. And everybody in my family that seems to have any touches of gifts have some sort of weird health situation. It just seems to kind of go together. And I noticed that with a lot of people that have empathic abilities, they'll end up with a lot of autoimmune disorders. So, but I think that it's more genetic. And we had spiritual things happening even when I was born. My mom was out of body while she was having me. She basically passed away while she was having me, then brought her back to life. And then, like, here I am. So she said she was able to watch the whole birth from out of body. So a lot happened from me coming into this world, having strange genetic mutations. I often wonder if people like me, and I've been like, I hate to say this, but like kind of stalking them on like TikTok. I'm like, okay, you have my illness. Let me see. Are you psychic? Like, I'm going to check you out, like just to see if I can pick up on any of them being psychic. So I'm wondering if there's something that coincides with the illness and those abilities.
It could be, and I know a lot of mediums who have it in their family, and it may skip a generation or two, but they have stories of, or they knew of, and so there's a lot of interesting factors that goes into you know what activates or brings it about, or even makes it exist, so to speak, like you're saying, being born the way you were, because
Yes.
that would very, I think, put it in a way of saying, yeah, undeniably, yeah, that would be circumstances of something extraordinary coming out of it, and yet here you are,
Right.
extraordinary in all that you do, so it
Thank you.
fits.
Yeah, thank you. And being that I've done these things my entire life, like I have the strange childhood experiences, um, and the birth experiences for my family. After I had my kids, I noticed that my oldest daughter inherited one of my most hated gifts that I have. I have one gift that I do not like, and she inherited it. And I'm like, oh no. And then my other one, my youngest, What she started doing at a young age was past life regression. So she remembered what happened to her before. And when she was in diapers, but still able to talk like a little bit to express herself, but still young enough to be in like a pull up. So I'm going to say 2 to 3, if I remember right. We wrote it all down, but she was describing her past life and that she had really black teeth and that they were rotting out. And this is a little diapered kid, rotting out teeth, and that she had to get shots in her belly, and she got shot in her belly. And we were just all blown away by this. Of course, we had the psychic on the phone, right? My mom was calling the psychic up, and she was telling my mom about past life regression because, again, this stuff wasn't as popular. And she was teaching my mom some of these things. And my mom was trying to take notes so that we could document what was going on. So both of my kids do things differently, but they have inherited. So I do believe that they are passed on. The most hated gift is I will know when someone's going to pass away. And that's just one I don't like. And you're not supposed to have that gift. I don't know why that one came to me, but it happened to my daughter too. So she knew what happens is we'll see the person in slow motion. So if I see you and we're in front of each other face to face and I see you in slow motion, I know, and this is terrible, but it's true, I know that is the last time I'm ever going to see you. And at some point in the very near future, you would no longer be with us. It's just something that happens to both my daughter and I. I've had it happen at least 5 times. She's had it happen twice. One was a teacher for her too. So once she started realizing she could do that, I knew that she has other gifts, but she does not want to expand or grow her gifts. My kids say no to all of this stuff. They are not interested at all. They don't want anything to do with it.
Well, it is a hard life. I'm not going to lie. And so it's, but kudos to you for letting them, make the choice and not sitting there and saying, no, you have the gift, so we need to train you and get you to doing this, this, and this.
Oh, I definitely tried to shove it down their throat. Oh, no, I am not that nice mama. I am trying to shove that down their throat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, yes. I want them to use their gifts, but they don't want anything to do with it. Oh, no, I'm not respecting boundaries. I am full force pushing this on them. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah.
And I'm curious, when and what made you decide to do both the dark and the light and have that
balance?
balance?
You don't exist without it. It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic to think that you're only going to have one interaction. So why wouldn't you want to understand all potential interactions that you can have? Because if you're working in this field, you should know what it all feels like. And I'm not saying that I'm working with them to co-create with anything like that. But what I am doing is trying to comprehend the message. Because what if instead of growling at us when we're on location, they're like, oh, they'll listen to me. I'll just speak to them then. Why growl at them? I'm just going to talk to them. So I want to be more of the medium that maybe gets the message from the entities that are, I don't know, grumpy Garys, turn grumpy Gary into a nice little guy.
It's interesting you put it that way because I'm sitting here thinking, like, when you say talking with the darks, I'm like picturing like shadow beings that are like trying to hurt, or these malevolent trying to hurt people, and you're like, okay, so who are we talking to today? I'm like, why are we talking to them? Because it's like my mind, I'm like, these are the last people I want to talk to because they are master manipulators.
Yes,
and,
they are master manipulators, but why are they there? And what do they want? And even if they are going to lie, which of course they can lie, at least they're making some sort of bridging a gap between perceptions, because we're investigators. We don't just investigate the fluff and puff. It's not all about the pink. We're going to go investigate the red too. you know?
Yeah, and that's really cool, and that's a great point. And I actually had to think about that, and wondering if I do the same thing, because I'll view an angry spirit as an angry spirit, where others will go, "Oh, there's the D word," and I'm like, "No, it's not. You're misidentifying, and trust me, you don't want to deal with the D word." And it's like,
Well, I mean, I think people get sad about the D word, but I think it's fine if, if we use that terminology. It describes a lot of different things. What exactly is it? Why are we so afraid of it? Why are we so afraid of using it? Why do we give it that much power anyway? So I prefer to understand it, know what the energy is. If the energy is a fear-based energy, that is a fear-based, you can even call it the D word, because they can operate using emotions, then they're using something against the greater good. So yeah, that would be pretty evil, right? So you would consider that evil of some sort, or however you want to term it. Um, I feel like there is something to be learned here. And I feel like there's things that we run away screaming from that I'm going to turn around and go talk to and figure out what's going on. I just want to know.
right. And one thing that I find curious too, and like you're saying, at least they're communicating, is I always get a little annoyed when you have the so-called benevolent light people that are there, but they're just watching, and and you're like, "Hey, I can see you. What message do you have for us?" And they will stay silent, and they will just stand there, and you're like, "So why are you here?" And interact zero, and it's like, really, why are you here if you're not going to do anything? It's like, or why are you making yourself visible if you have no intention of interacting? It's like, yeah, it gets frustrating. It's like sometimes I'll sit there and I'll be like, are you really benevolent, or are you like malevolent trying to be benevolent, but you don't know the words to use, so you're just saying nothing, and it's like my mind starts going down this rabbit hole of who's really here.
Yeah, and I think that setting the tone and setting the frequency and getting the energy charge for communication also helps. And certainly there are going to be, there's so many entities, we can't even touch on them. I'm not even just talking about spirit beings. I mean, there are elementals, there's extraterrestrials. I believe in all of it. Interdimensionals, you name it. I firmly believe that all of this exists and that we are all intertwined. So I feel like there's a way to connect with them. There's information that we need to gather. Maybe there's things that we need to learn. And I think there's gaps that we might be able to bridge. You never know. Something new may come out of not running away screaming when the spirit box answers you. You asked it a question, it answered you. Why are you scared? You're asking for the interaction. You're here on a ghost hunt to get the information. Why run away scared? Why not see what they want to say? I feel like we're missing a lot. I think there's so much more that we can get into, especially with like the extraterrestrial side of things. That
Mm.
if it were me, like everybody's like, aren't you afraid of spirits? No, I'm probably going to say the extraterrestrial side of things scares me a little bit more. I would be afraid of that. Like, I'm not really afraid of ghosts so much as I am the ETs.
Well, see, I have an interesting view of paranormal investigating now, where we all sit there and say, we have intelligent spirits, we have residual spirits,
Mhm.
and then we just have spirits that are figuring it out. I forget what the term for them is, but I sit there and I'm like, you have totally eliminated the option of what if we are in a spot where the veil is super thin, and instead of seeing a spirit going through their whatever they did in life, what if we're seeing someone doing it right now, but on a
Right.
parallel timeline, parallel Earth?
Yeah.
And that's why we can't communicate, because we don't know what language each other uses. I mean, it could be a world where English sounds like Latin, and we're over here saying, "Hey, can you
Yeah, I
talk to me?" And
firmly
they're
believe.
like,
I absolutely believe you. Yeah, there's fractions of time that we're seeing in this multiverse. So we are seeing into other fractions of timelines. Yes, we're existing simultaneously on other timelines. That gets a really deep conversation, doesn't it? But that's a whole rabbit hole. But again, why not be open minded to different frames of thought, different belief systems? There are other things that we need to try and learn. So, yes, I would say that is on the plate for things that I want to know more about, that I want to understand more of, that I want to see happen. I want to see that captured in evidence more often. Because again, when you're working with your evidence and you're asking for spirits to interact with your equipment and it's doing it on command, then that is intelligent. Those are intelligent responses that are communicating with us. So that wouldn't be residual. That wouldn't be seeing or peering into another fraction of time. That would be happening in the moment as a connection and interaction.
"Well, and I also, and I know this is gonna bridge where you're not comfortable, but
Oh,
I view like the ETs, you know, a lot of their races, yeah, they can change their shape or how they appear to make themselves more, you know, positive, I guess, frame for us. Like, if we saw a T Rex walking towards us, we're gonna freak out because of Jurassic Park and all the dinosaur movies that tell us T Rex is gonna kill us.
right.
And so if I was a race that looked like T Rex, I'd be like, okay, we got to change our looks. And so I wonder sometimes when we come across the spirits that don't seem to belong in the place where they're at, like, and it's a feeling that I get, like, they're not talking the right way, they're not seeming like they know where they are. I wonder sometimes if it's the ETs here visiting, trying to see, okay, what would first contact be like? What are these people going to be open and receptive to? If I show up in this form, will they be okay? If I show up in this form, are they going to freak out?
From what
It's
I'm seeing, from what I'm seeing online and on social media, people will accept the aliens in any form they come in. They just want beamed up out of here. Most people just want beamed up out of here. They want those aliens coming in any form that they can get them. That's what I'm seeing on social media. I don't know. It looks like everybody's ready to hop off the ship. So we'll
well,
see. I don't know.
I would say you seriously need to reconsider that attitude, because not all the ETs are benevolent. You think life here is hard. You go to some of those worlds and you'll be wishing you were back here.
Right. And I'll leave it there because we don't have the answers to that. But I don't sit and channel ETs, and I know that there are mediums that do. So from a mediumship perspective, it's not something I try to do. So I'm not trying to channel certain ones. Um, so yeah, I don't do that one.
I, I give you kudos for that, because I've come to learn that there's the psychics, the mediums, the channelers, And we all, they're all the same thing, different title. And I view the title kind of guides to what you're going to get. Like, if you say medium, I have found 9 times out of 10 that means connecting with loved ones.
Right.
Psychics are more of the if you're lost something, they can help you find it, or if you need guidance on your path, they can help see and do that. Mediums can do that too sometimes.
Yes.
And then the channels are like your galactics and don't really do the family, like, so to speak. Is that, would you agree with that, or do you have a different take on it?
Um, I can understand. I do understand what you're saying. Where they're doing the channeling is like getting the galactic messages and the feedback from like the Federation and giving like world messages as channeling, and then the medium as being the person that talks to families and doing spiritual work. Like I can understand that, but I do feel like as a medium, we are still channelers. We are still channeling. We're just channeling different energy. So it's all energy. Everything is energy. So whatever it is we're pulling in when we're doing mediumship work, yes, we're trying to pull in family members. We're calling in their loved ones. When I do world messages, because I do world predictions, which I pause, but I have a couple of them that I've put out there that already happened. So for my world predictions, I will do those in a meditation and ask from a higher source. So if you're calling that like the extraterrestrial source, well, I'm asking for it from like my guides, my higher sources. So, there's a fine line in how the terminology is intertwined and exchanged as well. Like some people will say angels. I will still refer to angels as extraterrestrials. See, the words mean something.
Right. And I'm kind of with you on that because I look at, the stories of old and all the legends and lore, and it's like the one thing they have in common is the people who were the extraordinary. They all say came from the sky. Well, who comes from the sky? The extraterrestrials.
Not
That's
enough.
by name. It's like, they're off world, so to speak, because they're coming from the sky. So they're coming from another place. So it's like, yeah, they're not terrestrial. So therefore,
Right.
yeah, why are we calling them terrestrial beings when they're not?
Yes. So, I mean, I think there's like a terminology there, a terminology factor that um, I think a lot of mediums will give themselves a great deal of titles so that they can narrow it down because there are so many different ways to do it that they've come up with a set of different things. Like some people will say, like, well, they are scribing or using automatic writing. Some will just kind of give themselves another little category or specialty, which I think is helpful. Like for me, I'll say that I use automatic writing. It's just like a subset of a tool that I use. So,
No, and that's really cool that you can do that because, I mean, when I'm writing something, I call it zoning out, and before I know it, like a paragraph or two is there, and it's like I don't know where this came from, but sounds really cool, so I'll leave it.
yeah,
But
that's part of my homework assignments. I give my clients homework assignments all the time. So if anyone's listening, if you want to do some homework tonight, get your journal out, get your paper out, and always date it. So put today's date on it. And then I want you to call in your spirit team, and you can light a candle to do this, but light a candle or take a drink of water to just purify and refresh, and call in your spirit team to give you what you need to know for your highest and greatest good. What messages do they have for you? And then look at who's sitting at this round table in your meditation. And in that round table, go around and greet everyone. What do they look like? What time period? These are spirit guides and family members, and they will show up to you. Ask them what their purpose is in your life. I met a health and wellness spirit guide by doing what I call my round table meeting in meditation. So I tell people to do these roundtables to get started with a meditation to help them meet their spirit guides, and to have them date it. And whatever name they tell you, if you can't pronounce it, you can ask them to give you one letter at a time and just write a couple letters down. If you still can't understand it from there, have them draw a symbol for you and just draw whatever symbol comes to mind and put it on the paper. But this will be your homework assignment so you can get in touch with your spirit guides. Since you are having a reading sort of lesson tonight with a medium, we got to give you some homework, I feel like.
Man, I miss homework. It's so strange to say that because in school we hated homework, and now that we've been out of school for so long, it's like, I kind of miss having some of those homework assignments.
Yes. Yes. Another homework assignment that I can give you is assigning representation. So you create your own spirit language. So it's just like learning French or German or Italian or English. You're getting the representation. So you see a picture of a house, you say the word house. So for me, when I work with spirits, they'll give me certain visuals, like a birthday cake will often represent either their birthday or the anniversary of something. They'll give me certain color roses for, like, I've gotten the yellow rose for Texas representation before. So they'll give me different visuals that I can share with the client as signs and symbols to make the story that the spirit is trying to share with them in the conversation that we're having during our session. So I teach my client to do this so that when they leave, they can continue their reading at home by connecting with spirit using the signs and symbols that they've come up with. And then they can write it down and date it and feel more connected to the people that they've lost.
That's actually a really cool idea because a lot of times you deliver the messages and move on into another message and another message, and it's like you get it bombarded and you're like, okay, here's the ones that I remember. Those are the ones that are probably the most important to me in this moment, and I'll remember the others when it comes time. But doing it this way, it's like you have it all there and you can get the whole picture at once
Yes.
from what seems like several different points that they're all actually connected.
Yes. Well, everything is one. Always. Yeah. I always say everything is everything.
No,
But
wow, I'm like, wow, you actually have got me almost speechless. It's like normally I'm like on the ball and I can come up with questions and go somewhere, and I'm like, man, my brain has gone into processing mode, and it's like,
sorry.
oh, it's like I know I have a question here somewhere. Come on.
So I have a little bit of a little Ohio haunted history. I really have always been drawn to Mansfield Reformatory Prison. I love going there, and my great grandfather was an inmate there. So whenever I go there, I have this inmate family history from the prison itself, and then all this energy. And when I was in there, I was walking around, and the lights kept like flashing above the top of my head. And the cell that they told us to go to was not active at all. They're like, "Oh, this one is like the best one." I swear it was 13, but I always like to go to cell 45. So whenever I'm at Mansfield Reformatory, it's cell 45 for me. That one was hitting so hard when I was in there. I don't know if it was me or the energy of the vent because it was a parapsychon, but that was insane right there. And going into the chapel, I also had a figure running in the chapel, and it was on my cell phone. We knew it was there. Then we went back and looked at the cell phone again, and it was completely gone. So have you ever had your phone be erased before from when spirits got captured and they go in and remove it?
I have actually, and
Yeah,
it is
that's the
so
thing.
frustrating. And another one I had was a body cam picking up, I had a voice right over my shoulder, even my ex-girlfriend who I was dating at the time started responding to it, and we go back to listen to the body cam, and there's this hum across the bottom of it, so all you hear is us. And they're like, you can hear it very faint, like something was there, but
That's
the hum is so strong that they can't get over it. And I'm like, why would you do that to me?
They totally mess with your equipment. That's the one thing I have had happen to me too on live shows, my equipment getting drained, just doing readings online. And I can do readings online. People ask, is it easier to be face to face, or can you do it on Zoom or phone, or what's the difference? There really isn't a difference. Face to face is great if you want to come in here. If you live near here, it's nice because it gives you privacy. You have a private place to go. Zoom works wonders because it does let us, at least have some empathy, for the situation. I am usually with people who are crying, so just being face to face gives them, at least my energy there to be supportive. A phone call, I can get the same messages. It's just, just a voice, and you can be comfortable. A lot of people don't want to be on camera, so that gives them that voice option. So, and then I do them online. I'll go on social media and do readings for people as well, and they just come in as they come in. So it's really up to the person, but I feel like, and I think that this is true for any person doing mediumship, that they can connect with anyone, anywhere, anytime. That's the way I believe all valid mediums should be able to connect.
And do you ever do they call them like the round, I think they use the term the round table, where you have like 60 people and you just walk in and just start reading for certain
Oh,
people in an amount of time?
a gallery reading.
Gallery, that's it.
Gallery reading. Okay. So, yes, I will do a gallery reading. I haven't done any recently. I have done them before. I have done very beautiful Christmas gala events. It was a wonderful experience. I have done some private parties where people have hired me to be the entertainer and read the rooms at the party. Typically, for the party events, I like to have a room because most people want a little one-on-one time with me. Because again, it might be a party, but when you're having a sitting with me, even if it's 15 minutes at a party, I will have you in tears. If you're coming in with an open heart and you're looking for that information and there's something very special that you need to know, I will get that information to you from Spirit World and you will leave in tears. It happens at all of my events. So I always say bring tissues and an open heart to my events.
And along those lines with the gallery, because I have witnessed like probably 3 or 4 different mediums doing galleries, and the one that I get why they do it, but it annoys me because I feel like it's wrong, is the mediums when they're like, I have something for this person, and the person's like, nope, I don't, that's not me, I can't take it, but they won't let it go. They just keep, and I'm like, we only have so much time, and you're spending a quarter of it arguing with this person who doesn't want the message. And
Yeah,
it's like, why can't we just move on and let somebody else who wants a message get it?
yeah, I think sometimes maybe they're in the moment, maybe they're in the second or in the moment of channeling, and they're just like, I know this connects. Like I've had moments where I'm like, I really feel like this connects. So what I do, I typically just say, all right, if it's not connecting right now, we're just going to write it down and set it off to the side and deal with it later. And you can take your paper home and it might connect with you later. And sure enough, I'll just say, call me if you get it and they understand it, and they will. They'll let me know. So I would say sometimes in those instances, it might be wise to say, you know what, we're just going to put that one off to the side. I had a medium that I respect give me a reading, and she was telling me about this really large dog that I had. And I was just did not know what she was talking about. Well, for a brief moment in time, and I'm talking about just a couple months, I had a Saint Bernard. I did have a large dog, and it passed away because it got hit by a car. So that was wild because I completely had forgotten about it. It wasn't standing out to me, but she picked up on it. So she was really honing in on it, and she was correct. But I personally, as the sitter, wasn't getting it. It just wasn't connecting for me in the moment. So people get starstruck. So they might go speechless in the moment when they're getting on camera as well. They get a little starstruck where they're not quite sure. So I don't always fault the medium. I feel like they might be trying to help them get through that starstruck moment maybe as well, because it has happened to me. And I'm a medium. I got starstruck. This person was really famous, and I got total starstruck when I got my reading.
Yeah. That's true. And, that's why I say I can't fault him for it. But being the person that's like really wanting the reading, it's hard to sit there and watch and be like, okay, I'm going to stay in, like you say, stay in the love and light.
Yeah.
And be like patient, because I'm like, 20 minutes has gone by of this hour and they're still saying no, and we're still on the same person, but I'm okay.
Time management definitely is important in our craft. So I am mindful. I do try very hard to keep time management going. So yes. And thank you, Alexa, for all of the time management that my Alexa gives me, because she will set alarms for all of my clients. She keeps me on track. My Alexa is, I swear, the best assistant that I could possibly have.
That's funny to hear.
Yes.
Probably the most affordable one too.
Yes, she's great. She'll even order coffee if I need her to. So we're good.
Yeah, you don't have to feed her.
Right? Or pay her.
Yeah, there's that too. So we're actually approaching the hour. I don't know if you have time to talk a little beyond the hour, or if you need to go.
Well, I will be heading out here, so we'll cut it at the hour, because I am in studio and I have to make it home still. But yes, I thank you so much for having me. It's been a great time talking.
Yes, and I wanted to give you a chance to address your books if you wanted to.
Oh, well, I am working on writing a book. I have been working on it for quite a while, but I have some beautiful pictures that my clients sent me of their loved ones that I'm incorporating in my book, and it is called Living Their Best Afterlife. So we will discuss a little bit about my mediumship, a little bit about my gift, but a lot of it is going to be stories of my clients and helping them heal as well, just by honoring the memory of their loved ones. Several of my clients have loved ones that have come through so many times and repeatedly, and their backstories are absolutely amazing. So I feel like highlighting them in this book is going to be really fun. It's just got to get finished with it. So now you're inspiring me to get it over with. I better get it done fast. But it's just something I'm doing on my own. This is just a self-published, so you guys can get to know me a little bit better and understand some of the beautiful things that have happened with my clients. And I don't offer classes, so it's just a way that I can share information with people, because I don't gatekeep information. I just tell it. If somebody needs to know something, I share with them how I do it.
Very cool. And if you want to get in touch with Sarah, her link is in the description, so you can reach her there. And thank you so much. And before I let you go, I know we're at the hour, but I just want to simply say my heart and my show's heart to you. Thank you for what you do for humanity.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael. And thank you again. Much blessings. I feel so great being here. I'll see you next time.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you to the chat room. And thank you to everyone who's watching. And completely lost track of where I was going with that thought. But with that being said, we're going to call it a night. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.